We are rolling along at lightning breakneck speed. We're doing the Hebrew alphabet, and we're on our fourth session. We've covered 4 letters. Pretty good. Today was our 5th letter. So now, we're really up to the letter Hey today. That's this one. And we started talking about it, but I want to elaborate on the letter Hey and show you some amazing things that we're going to need some of the letters that precede it and some of the letters at the end of the alphabet. Okay? These are the last 3 of the last 4 letters. The Kuf, the Resh, the Shin. Right? And then there's the Taf, which is the last letter. And we're not going to be dealing with the Taf today. We're going to be dealing with these and contrast them to these. Okay? So far what we did is we had the Aleph. We had the Aleph. And we talked about Aleph is God. It means Aluf, right? Aluf's a general. But it also means the Alufo Shel Olam, the great one. It also means to learn, La'alef, Ulpan. So we had a bit of an acronym. We started with Aleph, to learn. Then Beit, we had, which meant house, Bayit. We also said that certain letters are interchangeable. If you remember the 5 places where you speak. And so Bayit could be Bina. So the Talmud says, Alpha Bina, learn knowledge. Okay, learn knowledge. We said last time the Aleph was oneness, God. Bina was now, the second was seeing 2 things, the duality, and understanding the whole picture. You have an idea, and then you extrapolate it, you develop it. The Talmud says the Aleph is Aleph, learn, Bet, Bina, and then we saw last week the Gimel. What does Gimel mean? To give. Gomel, give. The word Dalet is Dal, is to poor people. Aleph, so it's a little bit of a phrase now. Here's how the Hebrew alphabet starts. Learn knowledge, give to the poor. Okay? That's the phrase. Aleph means Aleph, to learn. Bina is a kind of wisdom we explained in detail. I'm not going to go over that. Then we said the next letter was Gimel, was to give. And Dalet is the word Dal, which is poor, impoverished, poor. So look at the first 4 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. The Talmud says what you should do is learn wisdom. Now, if you learn wisdom and you're very smart, that's enough, right? You don't have to do anything else. You just got to sit and learn and not do anything. Is that enough? No. You learned, you have wisdom, now you have to go out and you got to bring it into the world. Be Gomel, give to the poor. Okay? So here is the knowledge, translating from your mind, extrapolating it, and now bringing it into the world of action. That is the first 4 letters that we have covered in this session. Okay? Learn, oneness, wisdom, understanding all different aspects. Then take it and give to those in need. The Talmud says when you do these 4 things, you get to the next 2 letters. The next 2 letters are the Hey and the Vav, which really are the letters of God's name. Okay? When we talk about the Tetragrammaton, the 4-letter name of God, it's the Yud, which is kind of, we said, is here. It's really over here too. Is the Yud. Okay? And it's the Hey. And it's the Vav. And it's the Hey. Okay? So if you do this process of learning the knowledge and bringing it into actions, then you can now connect and receive the godly letters, which is what we're going to get into today. Okay? The Hey and the Vav. You got a thought, question?
Very cool.
Good? All right, cool. Now, so let us see. We have a tiny bit of review because we need it for the Hey. We said last time, if you remember, that the way this works is here. The way you make a gimel is you make a vav, letter Vav, and you make a little Yud. A Yud here for the leg. The Yud is the leg. And then the Gimel, who wants to give this is his leg here. You see, he wants to give it. He wants to give that Yud, which we'll see what that means in a minute, to the next letter, which is the Dalet. What does Dal mean? Ever remember? What does Dalet mean? Poor. Dal is poor, impoverished. So the giver wants to give to the poor. He wants to give his little Yud here. And he does. That's the Hey. The Hey, as you can well see, is a letter. It's a Dalid. It's poor. Okay? And then it gets the Yud. That's the baby. That's called, literally, in the Kabbalah, it's called the baby, the Uber. He gets now, this is an impregnated letter. That's the Hey. Okay? This is the Hey. The Hey is, the Gimel wants to give. He wants to give to the poor. The poor gets the gift. That is the Yud, and now we have the amazing letter Hey. Okay? Well, remember all that so far? Okay? We talked how the Hey was the female quality, if you remember. And we're going to review this next. We need this idea. Let's understand the Dalid and the Yud, and then we'll understand the Hey better.
We didn't do Hey last time.
No, I did 2 times ago. Did you miss that? I'm reviewing it a little bit now. So the Hey is a construct of a Dalid and a Yud. Okay? Let's just review this a second. Dalid, we said, the word means poor. It looks like an XY axis, really, if you look at it. Right? It looks like where you make a graph, right? Because the Dalid represents the physical world. It's moving this way, it's moving that way. It's the physical world. The Y, it's the numerical value of 4, right? Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, Daled is 4. And we said 4 always represents, in Jewish thinking, the idea of things being spread out to the 4 winds of the world, the 4 elements of the world. It represents the components of the physical world. I know there's more than 4 elements. I went to chemistry in school, but
that's not what I was thinking.
No, but we break it down. Even though, just to qualify, even though there are more than 4 elements, if you took chemistry in school, you know there's more than 4 elements. But the sages tell us that the deeper underlying thing is 4 systems. So there are people today. There are Kabbalah quantum physicists who explain about the 4. It's gravity, the electromagnetic force, the strong force, the weak force, the 4 main forces. They have different ways to explain what it means, but the physical world represents, we call it, breaks down to 4 constructs. Those are the basic way the world is understood. So the number 4 is the physical world. This is a plot like a graph which tells you the x, y axis, the y axis, the x axis, the y axis, and the word da, we said, means poor. Right? Why poor? Because poor is something that has nothing of its own. It needs to receive from something else. The physical world, the body without a soul, it's poor. It's poor. Right? If it doesn't have the spiritual component to it, right, then it's nothing. Right? I'll show you this another way here. As an aside, I don't know if I mentioned this in the first class session or not. We talk about Aleph a lot. We said Aleph means the spiritual, the godliness. Aluf, the great one. Which letter sounds, I don't know if I did it, stop me, okay? Which letter sounds like Aleph in the Hebrew language?
Ayin.
Ayin. So stop me if I might have done this. I don't remember if I did. Ayin. Ayin sounds like Aleph, right? The only person in this room that can say it properly is my young friend over here, right? You can say it.
Yeah.
Say ayin properly.
Ayin.
Again.
Ayin.
Try.
Ayin.
Ooh. That's funny.
You have to be Israeli to say it.
But I got a visa from the Sephardic Commission in Jerusalem for living there
Sounds like-
10 years and saying my time. And
That's good. That's good. You did good. Even Ashkenazis who guys can't really do it. They ayin. Ayin. I'm gonna say ayin.
You sound like you're choking.
Yeah,
It's just
ayin.
not like...
So really, the aleph and the ayin are very similar sounds, but the difference is that the ayin is a little more guttural, but it's very slight. So again, the aleph I said has no sound at all. Cliff, has no sound. So if I take a patach and I put a patach, which this sound is ah. If I go under bet, it's ba. Gimel, it's ga. The ah sound under aleph is what? Ah. Right? There's no sound. But and under ayin, it's good. Ah. Did you hear the difference?
It's never gonna happen.
It's
never
it's a
gonna happen.
difference. It is. It's a funny difference because today very Sephardim Ashkenazim can't do it. Hashem don't know how to make a difference. And therefore, when you hear people that are very educated and scholars, they don't pronounce it differently if they're not Sephardi generally. In halacha, in Jewish law, in the Mishnah Brura, in the Ashkenazi halachic compendulum, the law is if you can't differentiate between an aleph and an ayin, you should not lead the community in prayer. You have to daven in front of us every single week now. You don't have to daven in the whole
In
shul.
the Sephardic, you have to pronounce the ayin
Yeah.
compared to the aleph. So,
That's right.
yeah.
So the
Also the chet and chaf. So.
yeah, right. So and by the way, just you should just know, this is a very fascinating thing because we're talking about the alphabet here. The Hebrew language really had many ways to pronounce it. We know, for example, that the Ashkenazim have some mistakes, as do the Sephardim. Right? The Sephardim have mistakes. For example, this letter here. How do you pronounce that?
So, tough.
Tough. How do you pronounce that?
Tough.
What's the difference? This got dots without a dot. The Sephardim have a mistake here. The Sephardim pronounce the taf, whether it has a dot, they go ta, and if without a dot, they go ta also. How do Ashkenazim say, Cliff? How do they say this?
So,
So. Now, is that right?
No.
It probably is not right. You know who probably has this most accurate?
Yemeni?
The Teimanim.
Yemeni.
How do they say it? Say fa.
So,
Fa. They go ta and
says
fa.
that?
The Yemenites. And there are a lot of areas where you could see that certain things. What?
There's a PH, a diphthong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the Yemenites pronounce it. The Yemenites have an
Use it in a
fascinating.
word.
yeah.
What?
Say it in a word.
Emet.
Emet?
Okay, Emet.
So let's say emet.
Emet.
Well,
I'll give you a better one. I'll give you a better one.
about
This is
Shabbat?
a good one.
But
What about
Me-
Shabbat?
Shabbat. But they're
Because
Shabbat.
people say Shabbat and then some people say Shabbat.
I got a better one for you.
No,
When an Israeli
Yiddish.
person, when an Israeli
You don't like
person
my-
comes to America, and they go to the different synagogues in America, you know, they go to the Beth Jacob, they go to Beth Tfilah, they wonder why everyone is named after a person named Beth. Why is every synagogue named after some lady named Beth? Can someone explain that to me? Why is every synagogue named after a lady named Beth? I know Beth's a good Jewish name, but why are they called Beth? You know what the answer is?
It's better.
It's Bet. Or Bess. Base Tfilah. Right? Base Jacob. Beit Jacob. But they're pronouncing for some bizarre reason that I have never figured out.
That's the
They've
Yiddish.
decided, it's not the
The
Beth.
Yiddish, the best.
No, it's not. That's people think it's not. It's Hebrew.
But that's what
It's
everyone
Ashkenazic
says.
Hebrew. Let me explain again. It's very bizarre how in America, for some reason, they've taken the Taimani explanation, its pronunciation, when they call synagogues. They go Beth Jacob. That is Taimani. Beth Tfilah, that's Taimani. It's very fascinating. Even in Israel, some of the signs are that you'll read sometimes are in Taimani for some. When they're in English, they're in Taimani. A mikvah.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know why they do that. Mikvah.
right.
So the Taimanim have a wa sound. Well, mikvah.
It's like kind of Arabic.
Yeah. So anyway, so these are some of the variations. But what I want you to understand here is that we know that all 12 tribes had slightly different ways to pronounce the words also. That's fascinating.
It's like dialects.
Yeah. And it says, the argument in Kabbalah is that each one have one gate that their prayers go up to. There are 13 gates of prayer. The 12 gates of all the different tribes, different nusachs, different approaches, and the 13th one that gathers them all in. Okay? So this is Aleph and Ayin. I want to just my point, of course, with Dalet a second. So now, they're almost the same. They're literally almost the same pronunciation. However, well, ayin's a little more external, but strong, it's a little more out there. If we take the ideas of what these letters mean, Aleph, we said, is the great one. It's ineffable, has no sound. You can't make a sound. It's God. It's the spiritual. It's the holy component of the person. What is the letter ayin? What does it mean, the word ayin? The eye. The eye. So the Aleph and the ayin have a very unique relationship. The Aleph is the internal me, okay? The true me, the true spiritual component. And the ayin is my eye, the me that sees out to the rest of the world. Okay? That's why the numerical value of Aleph is 1. Of ayin, it's 70. It's always, in Jewish thinking, it's always one nation, the Jewish people, 70 nations of the world. The Sanhedrin has 70 members and 1 on top. It's always the one that flips into the idea of the expression in the world. As we said last time, you have 7 days of the week. That's the physical world. And everything times 10 is Sfirot. So 70 means that we have the expression of the physical world. There's 1, the spiritual component. There's 70 when I'm looking out in the world. There's 7 colors in the rainbow, we mentioned last time. 7 notes in an octave. That's the physical world. 7D, and times 10, is the full expression of that. So Aleph is the oneness, and then ayin is the eye that looks out into the physical world. Now watch how amazing this is. You see why I'm getting, I'm sidetracking, you'll see why I'm getting there in a second. According to this idea, let's take 2 words here. Let's take the word or, and the word or. In the Kabbalah it says the following. It says, when Adam was created, he had what's called katnot or in Ashkenazis, katnos or, right? Or in Teimani, katnoth or. Sounds pretty good.
What does it mean?
But it means he had clothes of light. Kutanot shall light. What does that mean? So the Kabbalah says as following. It says that when you make Havdalah, you look at your fingernails. Why? One of the reasons, you remember Adam and Eve. You remember that their skin was like a nail. Now what does that mean? This was like a nail. I mean if they walked into a door, they would crack? What does that mean? They had to put nail polish on? What does it mean their skin was like nail? What it means is when you look at your finger, what? Translucent, very good. Translucent means because why? Because the light was so powerful, it was exuding out. The body was not a separation between them and their souls. Their light was shooting out. And that's what it says in the Kabbalah. It says, read the words God made for them, kotnot or. He made for them clothing of light. But then after they sinned, it says in the text, it says, and he made for them kotnot or, clothing of, what's or mean with an ayin? Or
Skin.
flesh, skin. That's our skin today. This is when you're looking at Adam and Eve's skin. You're remembering translucent because the light's shooting out. This is our skin today that, you know how your light shoots out? The little pores that you have. Those your little exuding light comes out through the little pores. You can barely see it. You know? And when someone is holy, they may radiate something. But it's not like Moshe when he came down from Mount Sinai. You couldn't look him in the face because the light was shooting out of his face. So what? This is what I told you. The Aleph is the internal, the spiritual, and the ayin, or help me out, ayin, is the external. It goes from inside to out. Let's do another one. You'll see the same idea. Here's another word in Hebrew.
Rabbi, real quick, when you
Yeah.
when you talk about the clothing of light,
Yeah.
is that that's not from the Torah? That's from Mishnah. Like,
Yeah, it says in the Torah, and God made for them clothing of or, but it's written with an ayin.
Okay.
And the Midrash says, Rabbi Meir says, in my Torah, it says clothing of or, of light. Now, he doesn't mean he had a different Torah. What he meant to say that the deeper understanding is that originally he made for them clothing of light, but then it became clothing of flesh. That's what it means. Let me show you another one here. So the Hebrew word, here's another word, osher and osher. Okay, same exact word, osher and osher. Okay, who knows what they mean?
Happiness and wealth.
Happiness and wealth. Oh, isn't that amazing?
Internal, external.
External is I have all of the external wealth. Internal, I have osher. I might not have I have the aleph now. When the aleph is there, the wealth I have is all internal. The aleph sees in, the ayin sees out. Okay? Now watch this. This is how I got to this. I kind of sidetracked a little bit because I wanted to show this point. I told you again, the physical world is the Dalet. So here's another one that's very fascinating. This word.
Uh-huh.
Ani and Ali. I'm getting better.
You just have to practice.
Yeah. Ani and Ani. So this means I. That's the true me. So what's the flip side when I'm saying the word ani, which means poor? And here's understanding. Because when you look at a person as just the physical external, the ayin, being, he's poor. What do you have? When a person dies, we understand, we're going to give scientific explanations, things stop, bumping, this and that, understand. But what's changed? You look at a person that's died, you see the soul has left. That's what you see. The bottom line is a separation of body and soul. When the soul is in the person, it's the real ani, it's the real I. When the soul is left, it's only external. It's only the body, it's called poor. This is the amazing idea that the way the world is built is everything has a body and a soul. Okay? And the body and soul means that there's something there in the world and you have to give it meaning. Okay? There's something that is physical and something that enlivens it. Okay? I got a piece of wood, that's the physical expression called substance, or in Jewish philosophy and certain Greek ideas took this also, the idea of this is called substance, but I give it form by making it into a table. That's like putting a soul on top of a body. It's injecting meaning into something. So the external world is called poor. That's the Dalet. The poor one is the Dalet because it is just the four winds, the physical world. That's what it is. It represents a world that is physical before it's going to get the baby. This is the physical, the four winds. Dal, poor. Okay? Questions on what I said so far? Comments, questions?
Did you take good notes?
What's that?
I say comments, questions.
Ask them, did he take good notes?
Yeah.
What does Ashir with an iron mean again?
Osher with an ayin is wealth, and Osher with an aleph is contentment and happiness. Joy. Okay? We got that? It's not so hard. All I'm saying is here is the giver, the gimel gives to the poor the dal. The dal is poor. Dal means poor. Okay? Okay? Physical world. So now this physical world has to get its soul. It's got to get its soul that it has something. The physical world needs to be enlivened. What's the letter it's going to get? The amazing, fantastic, one in a lifetime, Yud. You're excited about Yud, don't you?
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay.
She's getting all choked up.
The Yud. I'll check about the Yud. Here is the Yud. The first letter in the divine name, the Tetragrammaton, is the Yud. And we talk about the Yud many, many times. The Yud represents the idea of spirituality in the world. Okay? Godliness in the world. It's the letter of wisdom. Let me show you how this works. First of all, I told you, it's the only letter that floats above the margin. It doesn't come down to the margin. That represents it's spiritual. It's up there. Okay? The Yud, besides the fact that it floats up here, it's really considered a dot. Every other letter, for example, a daled, you have to go vertical, you have to go horizontal, you have to go vertical. You have to take, understand this is a philosophical point, you got to take something from an idea and bring it out, express it in the world. That's dimension. If you shoot out, horizontal, up, down, sideways, you're spreading out, you're making an idea. But the yud is a dot. It's the starting point. It's the beginning of everything. It's the point. Okay? So this letter represents spirituality in the world, the yud. And what's the numerical value of yud? Anyone know? 10. And 10 is the idea of, of course we know in Kabbalah is 10 sfirot. We know the top part of you and the bottom part of you have 10. How does that work? Kohanim, giving the bracha. You're 10 on top, you're 10 on bottom. Wash the hands and the feet. That's the 10, that's the Kohanim, that's the spreading out the blessing, because the blessing comes from oneness, that's the Aleph. And then, that's 1, and then when it comes to full expression, it's times 10, 1 which is 10. Okay? So, and that's why, again, remember, I told you the Aleph is Yud. It's a Yud, and a Vav connecting the two. So we talked about the first session. So the Yud represents the spiritual world, the concept. Okay? It's a concept. It's called a cognitive number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. And then when I get a 10, it's one set. It's a set. So 10 is that's why, I thought I do this still to this day, How much is 8 and 5? Well, let me think. 5, 8, I'll add 2, that's 10, and another 3 left over, it's 13. No, I don't do that anymore. I can add 8 and 5. But when you get hard numbers, if you notice what your mind does, usually most people will actually work to a 10 base. Most people will actually, if it's complicated, when you're a kid you did that, when you're an adult, you can do 8 and 5 much easier. But when it's hard, you go to a 10 base. Why? Because your mind thinks in tens. Okay, the 10 commandments, the 10 statements the world was created, the 10 sfirot. That's how God takes the oneness and He expands it out into 10. That is the amazing yud that floats above the margin and is a dot. It's the idea of the spirituality of the world, the starting point. Now listen to what it says here. It says, a verse in the Torah, it says, Ki b'kol Hashem tzur olamim. Because with this name of Hashem called the Yud and the Hey, God tzur olamim, He created the worlds. Which worlds did He create? So it says in the Midrash, He created the world of eternity with the Yud. That's the world, that's the spiritual dimension. It says there's no eating, no drinking, the tzaddikim are there, the crowns are in their heads, they're experiencing godliness. It's the spiritual dimension, that's the Yud. It doesn't expand into this world. He created the world to come with the Yud. But He created this world with what letter?
Hey.
The Hey. The Hey. The Yud is the spiritual source, that's the world to come. And the Hey is what He created this world with. And it's actually a verse in the Torah. It says, in the day, B'yom Hi Bar'am, God in the day that He created the world. Hi Bar'am is a very weird term. The word should be B'yom Bar'am. He was Boreh. He created. So the Medrash says, He Hey Bar'am. He created the world with a Hey. I know you don't get that, but that's more Hebrew. But the idea is that God created this world with the letter Hey. Let me show you how that is and why that is. Here's the world. Here's the Dalet. It's the physical dimension. It's poor. The giver, the Gimel, takes his Yud and is going to now impregnate the physical world, and the Hey is born. This is the baby. This is the spiritual dimension that is now in the physical world. That's this world. You live in a world that has both now. You live in a world that there are physical things, but there is a life force, the Yud, that makes this Dalet exist. This is the Hey. This is the formation of this world. The combination of the physical with the enlivening Yud, the Yud here, that is going to bring this out and make this Dalet from a poor entity to a vibrant world. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, thoughts on what I said so far? Lori, it's got to make sense. It's making sense.
Absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely.
There you go. So, questions, comments, thoughts on what I said so far? Kind of makes sense, sort of makes sense. Yeah? Right? It wasn't so bad.
Well, it's a good thing we're taking this class past fail, that's all I.
Okay, so we see that? This is called this world. And the Talmud says, yeah, it's really this world. This world is like a hay. You know, why is that? The world, the Talmud says, because the hay is where the world happens. But you know what? There's a big trap you could fall out. You live your life wrong, you could fall through the bottom of the hay. But, the good news is, there's a way out. And that's called tshuva. Coming back through this hole. Coming back the way you went is hard. But you can go through the higher door and come in here. That's what the Talmud says. This is not, it's not the Kabbalah, that's the Gemara.
Gravity works against you the other way.
Yeah, right.
It's easier to fall out than to
So this
come
is the
back.
hay that you fall out, but you come in. That's what the Talmud, literally Talmud says. This hay is the world. And the commentaries say other things about this. Like, for example, they say the word hay itself means to exist or to take. The verse says in the Torah, hey lechem zar, take for yourself seed. Yosef says to the people, here, take this, exist. And some people say that this line across here represents the thoughts of a person. The line down is the speech that comes from the thought. And then this is the action. These three dimensions here, some commentaries say, means that this world has a certain, what's called garments of how you could function and make it in this world. These are the dimensions. The thought that is connected to the speech, and the action, which is sometimes separated. Sometimes you act in a way that's not really what you're thinking. You're doing rote, you're doing habit. But the hay now represents the idea of existence. The word hayah is. Take it. This is the world. This is the world here that has the spiritual component and enlivens the poor person. Okay? That makes sense? Yep. Now, any questions? Any questions at all?
Wait, what did you just say a moment ago, actually?
I said that Aleph stands for Aleph. Bet stands for Bet. From the beginning?
No, just a second ago. Like the last thing you said.
I
It has a
said,
spiritual dimension and it enriches the poor.
that's right. The Yud is going to come, makes this world, which is made with a hay, and what it does is it takes the Dalet here, that is poor, and it's physical, and it enlivens it with the Yud to make this world, where you can express yourself in thought, one line, speech, another line, action, another line, which sometimes is disconnected, but this is the world that you can function in. This is existence of our world. That's it.
So if the Yud is unity, but then its action is plurality, how do you reconcile those two?
Oh, beautiful. Very, very good question. Very, very good question. I would say like this, it's a great question. I would say the following. And we see this in a few other places, and we say it in the prayers on Shabbat. We say, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. The end result, what you're bringing out, is from what you originally thought. There's supposed to be a connection between the original intent and the way the world is expressed in the end. So you're right, it's funny here that this Yud, this little dot, which is originally the intent, in the letter Hey now, the way I'm saying it is the action, but I would say because the original intent of what's supposed to be is what we see in the very end. when a person goes and, let's say, builds a building. So you see he built a building, and he made it this kind of way, and this kind of design. And I say, now, this is what I was thinking. The guy says, the builder says, you know what, that's exactly what I was thinking in the beginning. You pick a piece of art, and while you're making it, you're like tinkering with it. It's not exactly right. That ever happen? How do you know when it's right? There's a certain place when it's right, you say, oh, that's what I was looking for. You couldn't even put it into words because the action at the end really is embedded in the original intent. So that's why action and thought are sometimes interchangeable, because the action is supposed to be the full expression of the thought.
But sometimes because of practical issues and stuff, the action
Is
does
disconnected.
not reflect, because
Yes.
it's a modified version.
That's right.
So it creates a new sort of reality, if you like.
Yes, and that's really what this commentary says. They say that that's the reason why they claim it's disconnected, because although the action is supposed to be the thought, sometimes in our lives we may do it in a disconnected way. So I can't answer that any further. No, you're right. Ideally, it's supposed to be the expression of your thought, but maybe it's disconnected because sometimes it doesn't come to fruition. Right? All right, good. Now, so watch this. Now, this is fascinating now. Now it's going to get exciting.
Sounds very revolutionary.
What's that?
I said it sounds very revolutionary.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting now. Okay. Now we're going to really race to the end of the alphabet. We're going to jump over here a second to a little bit further down towards the end of the alphabet. Because if you look closely here, you see a fascinating thing when you look at the design of the letters. And you look at the Dalet that then was given this uber, this
Embryo.
This what?
Embryo.
Embryo. And you look at the letters over here, and you see something that's very fascinating. You see the letters Kuf, and the letter Resh. And you see really almost the same exact process. You see the Resh is, the Kuf is a Resh that got its own little baby.
But the baby died because the order's wrong.
Ah! Yes! Exactly! Exactly what Tzadok said. Tzadok Cohen says an incredible thing. He says, listen, he says, wait a minute. This is a little bit different here. Because here they're in a different order. Here I had the poor guy first, who knew he was poor, who knew he needed something, and he got what he needed. For some strange reason, this is out of order. Here's the guy who has the need, and he's full before. He's full over here. He's not full. It's backwards, right? According to this rationale, it should have been Resh and then a Kuf, right? And the order is this way. It should have been Resh and then Kuf. Okay, you see that?
Is there a Hebrew word that Resh stands for that indicates
No.
four? Am I getting like a free class today? I'm setting you up?
Yeah. We'll have to see in a moment what the word Resh means.
Evil.
Rash.
Or you could say you have wrong.
It also means
No.
evil, but there's another more specific meaning, which is going to
Right.
be poor also. We're going to see in a second. Watch this now. Let's watch.
If you
Rash ein davar.
Rash, not Reish.
No, Resh, it's the same letter. Resh. Resh. That's what the Gemara says, Resh. It also calls it Rasha sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll see in a second. Now watch. Let's just notice some of the things here. So you notice a very good thing. So first the thing that Judy just noticed was that they're out of order. Here, for some reason, the one who is in need is first, and then he's filled. Here, the one who's in need is afterwards, and he's filled before. That's one thing. Second thing that's fascinating is that this here is a yud, and this is not. This is like a extended U. And what's also fascinating is that it extends in a crooked way. Do you see that? I wrote it that way, the way it's supposed to be written in the Torah. Ideally, it's not supposed to be straight. You're not supposed to make a kuf like this. In the Torah, you're supposed to make a kuf like this, and then this comes this way. That's the way the kuf's written.
Oh, I mean, right here though, it looks kind of straight.
Yeah, that's not exactly right. Yeah, in the Torah, it's supposed to be written on a slant. Slight slant, it's supposed to be ideally. Okay? Yeah, I mean, they're giving you basics. They're not going to do the way a scribe is going to write in great detail. But the way it's supposed to be written is supposed to be on a slant. So now, also, anything else you notice about the comparison of these two letters? Anything else strike you about?
There's some similarity. The Reish and the Dalet, when one just runs, it's kind of more radial.
Yeah. I mean, really, in a certain sense, first of all, this looks like this, right? If I would just go like this, it's the same letter. Right? The kuf.
Except for the tail.
Yeah, except for the tail. But the
No,
kuf.
except for the top too, because the
And,
resh is
right.
rounded.
And the
vowels.
top, even though I did it a little bit more pronounced than maybe it needs to be, but this is called ba'alachson. It's called on a slant. This is called sharper definitions. So they're similar, and that's why very often when most people write them, like people write hey, you write a hey like this. You know, when you write in a Torah, you make it more precise. But here, you make it, you know, when you want to do it right, you make it more angular. This is more sharp, you know, defined as lines, and this is more of on a curve. Okay, so why are these differences? What's it supposed to be about? Let's understand some fascinating, amazing things here. Okay? I actually want to tell you first, you know, every letter has a tribe, okay? There's different letters. There's 22 letters. It's called 3 mother letters. And then there's the 12 letters, and then there's the 7 kfula, the 7 double letters. So there are ways that they break it up, but there are letters that parallel every tribe of the 12 central letters. And then there are tribes and months that correlate also. The letter Hey lines up with the month of Nisan. What happens in Nisan? Anyone know?
Exodus.
Right. This is the story of Passover. We become a Jewish nation. And you know what tribe it lines up with? And we did it last week, so it's a continuation. It lines with the tribe of Yehuda. Now, what does the kuf line up with? The kuf is, according to some of the traditions, lines up with Yosef. Yosef, thank you. Yosef, and the month of Adar.
One or two.
What happens in Adar?
Purim.
Purim. Now, Yosef is a very interesting character. What do you know about Yosef? If you had to think about one trait in particular you remember about Yosef, what would it be?
Forgiveness.
He forgave them, okay, that's good. How does Yosef rise to power? What is the method that you see throughout the Torah of where Yosef, where does it trouble? There's one theme that runs throughout all of his story. How he gets into trouble with the brothers, how he gets saved, interpreting dreams. Yosef is the dreamer. Dream interpreter. He's the dreamer. He is the master of the world of dreams. Okay? And what do you do in the month of Adar? What's the thing? What do you do during Purim? You're happy. And what do you do during Purim usually? Yeah.
Getting crazy.
Drink and sleep.
You enter into your dream state. You drink a lot, and now there's a world of sort of illusion that you're sort of in, right? The Purim is the strangest thing. I mean, you drink, and it's the strangest holiday. This is a Jewish holiday. You're supposed to enter into some kind of dream state. You're drinking. This is the actual issues of Yosef. We're going to see in a second. Cliff, the kuf. Kuf is going to be Yosef. It's going to be Adar. It's going to be the dream state. We're going to see how this works now. If Hey is how the world is created, okay? So Kuf looks like a Hey, but it's not. Does anyone know what the word Kuf means?
Imposter.
Yes. Mazakov.
Monkey.
A monkey. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called the monkey before the man. Let me explain. I'm not saying Yosef's a monkey, that's not what we're saying. This is the, what you gotta understand, this is really just very deep, very fascinating. Let's try to break this down. Let's say you have desires, right? What do you do with your desires? How do you deal with your desires? What should you do?
Probably depends on what they are and where they're coming from.
Okay?
You act on them,
Channel.
You do them, that's one option.
you suppress them.
You suppress them. Okay, so one is you could actually do your desires. You suppress them, okay? All right.
You go to therapy.
Now, it's good, very good explanation. What is the goal of therapy here? If I have desires, what do I want to have them or not want to have them?
Transform, you
Just
transform
direct
them.
them towards good things. Like,
Yeah, you see, desires, and this is what you're all saying. Desires are normal, are natural, but how you direct and deal with your desires is going to be the definition of success and failure. You know, to subjugate and to suppress everything you desire. You know, if you try something that's very negative, then you have to do that. But you have to sublimate certain things also. You have to deal with a world where you yearn for things. And you know, it's amazing, it's a fascinating thing. Desire, one of the biggest attractions that makes desire work is not seeing the thing itself, it's being lured into it. I'll give you an example. When Jacob sends the presents to Esav, what does he do? See, he doesn't send them all in one shot. He spreads them out. You know why he spread them out? Why did he do that? He wanted to send them presents. But he says, you go first, and then afterwards we'll have another one coming about 50 feet behind, then 50 feet behind, and he sends like 20 rows, whatever it is, of gifts, but they're all spread out. Why is he doing that? Why did Jacob want to do that? Why?
Spread the love.
Create
Explain, but what's the advantage of that? It's not, you're not giving him any more.
create drama,
Okay, John, what does it do now?
anticipation.
That's right. Because why? Because now when I see something, the desire is built up because I enter into this world of imagining how great it's going to be. I enter this world of illusion. Wow, if this is going to happen, I'm going to be there. Whoa, look how amazing this is. There is a desire that you get when you enter a world where things are not really the way they are. You enter a world of illusion. That is the root basis of desire. When I enter this world of imagining stuff, and then it starts building up in me. I want it more. That's the way you entice someone. You know, you do a TV ad, and you just show enough. That's wow, and the imagination starts to go wild here. The world of the kuf is the world of the monkey. It's the world that sort of imitates this world, but it enters into the dream state. It's Yosef. Yehuda is the month of Nisan, we become a nation. That's when the Jews become a nation. They leave Egypt. In the month of Adar is when we break away from who? Who did break away from the month of Adar? What happened in the month of Adar? What happened? The story of Haman. We broke away, but we didn't become a nation then. We didn't become totally independent, free. It's not what happened. This month here is kind of like dealing with this world things, and it looks like it's there, but it's fully not. This is the imitation of the hay. The kuf looks like a hay, but it's not. It's called the monkey in front of the man. Let me explain this here. Is it good to be a monkey? What do you think?
What's the alternative?
If you're a monkey. Right. Is it good for a human being to act like a monkey?
No.
Not recommended.
Not recommended. What's the quality of the monkey we're referring to here? He imitates. Is there any time where imitation is good?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're little, that's how you learn things.
Okay, good.
Role modeling.
Role modeling, right? How
We
about
talked
we?
about that exact thing.
What's that?
We talked about that in relation to some challenge I was having this week and how to connect with someone sometimes to maybe not imitate, but mirror back certain behaviors,
Right,
which
right.
is a form of imitation,
Right,
might
right.
lead to better communication.
Communication. How about imitating God? To be like God.
Well, you gotta be more specific.
Well, I'll be very
Be a
specific.
giver.
The Medrash says, just like he's compassionate, you be compassionate.
Oh, okay.
Just like he is kind, you be kind.
Yeah.
Imitate God. That's one of the commandments, imitate God. Just like he's kind, you be compassionate. The kuf has the potential for holiness, the word kedusha, or the word monkey. Because it depends who you're imitating. Depends who you're imitating now. This approach here is this world. The kuf now is when you enter into the world of desire, which may not be bad, if you use it properly, then you can become great and spiritual. Yosef, who's dealing with his desires, and he's dealing with these emotions, and he's using them in that world, he becomes great. Yosef is the master of dreams, and he's the master of desire. It's fast. Think about it a second. The person who could deal with the dream state more than anybody else is also the master of holiness. You know why that is? Because the whole illusion of the world, the things that trap you in, ooh, Vegas, come to Vegas, wow. All these things that lure you, when a person now, becomes a master of that, he becomes a master of his desires. That was Yosef. Yosef, his whole test with this woman trying to seduce him at 17 years old, every day she's changing her clothes 10 times a day, trying to seduce him. And he's the master of his own desires. Why? Because he's the one who controls the imitation. He's the one who controls this world of lookalikes. It looks like a monkey, but it's not. This is the hey and the kuf. Now watch, let's understand a second. This is why, though, since this is the way the world really is, it's straight. This is the world of illusions. It's bent. It's crooked. You see that? Why this doesn't come down straight. This goes a little bit crooked. Because this is the world. It's the parallel to the hay. But the hay is the way the world really is. The way the poor person gets the life force. Here is the way that the Reish gets the life force, but it's talking about in a reality that is illusionary. And therefore it's not straight. The lines are rounded. They're not straight. The line here goes crooked. Let me show you one other thing. That's why here it's backwards. The Dalid is, when a person in life knows, I need something, I'm poor. Okay? They're able to receive something. They're able to get something. That's the Dalid that gets the hay. The word Reish actually means, you know what it means? Reish means poor. The Rosh Ein Kol. This also means poor. But this is a yearning that you have, that's a yearning of desire that's not necessarily good. And that's why the order is reversed, as Judy pointed out before. The order is reversed because this is when a person realizes they're poor, they're dal, they have nothing. Then they can get something to enlighten them. Here it's out of order because this is when you're poor, you want everything. You want to be the king. You want to be the master of the world. Your yearning is because you're missing your great desires. That is not going to be filled. That's why the kuf comes before to show this guy is not going to be satiated. He won't be satiated because if what you're yearning for, what you're feeling you're missing, is the illusions of the world. I need to have $1 billion. I need to have every. There's no. You're not going to be satiated. That's this guy. This guy is the yearning that I need something and getting it, and it's truthful. I built the hay. This is the yearning for things that are in desires and illusions, and it creates the kuf, which is a monkey. It's an imitation of the real thing. Because this Rosh, this poor person who wants to be filled, he doesn't want to be filled because he really needs a spiritual yud. He just wants more and more and more. And therefore the filling that he gets is illusionary. It creates this. What are these two letters here? What do they spell? What do they spell?
Car.
Kar.
Cold.
Cool.
Let me explain this here. Watch this. This is fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Just hang in. It will become simple in a moment. Trust me. Watch this. Kar. Kar is cold. Kar.
I don't want to say what one thing that makes me think of a cuss word in Hebrew. I learned when I was younger.
Okay, so don't.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, but let's not. Now. Kar. Now, the word kar has some other words that are connected to it. One is it's cold. Cold. As opposed to when I have spiritual motivation, I'm considered warm. Cold, I'm distant. But there's another word here that's very, very important. And this word comes across all the time in one nation that battles the Jews from time immemorial. There's one nation that is always the antithesis of the Jewish people. Does anyone know what nation that is?
Amalek.
Amalek. That's exactly right. The nation of Amalek. This is the nation, they say probably the Nazis were Amalek. They have the signs that Amalek was willing to kill the Jews at all costs. I'm going to write it down. It's Amalek in English. Amalek. And it's Amalek. The nation of Amalek were the people that when the Jews came out of Egypt and everyone was afraid, they said, we're going to attack the Jews. And they said, we're going to lose, but it doesn't matter. We are going to stop them because once we go and show you could fight the Jews, then people will say, hey, forget this whole God thing. Amalek's philosophy was to say that everything is random. You Jews are coming along with this philosophy that, oh, why did this happen? Oh, it's Bashert. It's some God. Blah, blah, blah. No, forget that stuff. There is no purpose. Everything is random, is accidents. And this is what it says in the Torah. Listen to this amazing line. It says, remember what Amalek did to you. Remember what they did to you. Asher karcha b'derech. That they happened to meet you and start a war with you. Now, Asher karcha means they happened, it was a happenstance, it was random, it was an accident. They happened to meet you and fight a war against you. Can I ask you a question? I think he was in the army. When you go to fight in the army, do you just happen to go into war? No, you don't just say, hey, let's happen to go into war. You don't do that. So what does it mean they happened to go into war? What it meant was, this was their battle. The battle cry was to say the world is random. It's all happenstance. It's all accident. It's random. You Jews say this God is directing the show. That's not true. And by us fighting you, the people are going to say, hey, maybe it's not, maybe it's an accident. Amalek, the sages tell us, the gematria of their name, let's do gematria a second. Ayin is 70, Mem is 40, Lam is 30, Kuf is 100. How much is that?
240.
240.
240. 240.
Yeah, 240.
240. Their numerical value is the same as a very famous word in Hebrew, which does not appear in the Torah actually, and is an authentic Hebrew word. It doesn't appear in the Torah. And it's this word, safek. What does safek mean?
Doubt.
Doubt. Doubt. Samech is 60. Pei is 80. And Kuf is 100. 240. Wow. Why is this nation of Amalek, why is their numerical value the same as doubt, as safek? Because that's their job. Their mission was to show you everything is a doubt. I can't prove it to you, but maybe you're a random mutation. Maybe you're an accident. Maybe there is no reason. Maybe there's no purpose. Once I put that doubt in the world, then at that point, you don't really know. Maybe it is an accident. That was the battle. Listen what I'm saying to you. That's how they fought us. They happened to meet us. We really weren't going to fight you. We had no plans to fight you. We just happened to run into you and started a war.
But wasn't their purpose not to explain and to find out, but to kill?
To kill.
Annihilate?
Yeah, sure. But I'm saying, but the point was, and look, it's the Nazis. The Nazis, they claim, have the signs of Amalek. Amalek's signs, there's certain signs. One sign is, when it comes to killing Jews or saving themselves, they'll choose to kill the Jews. When the Nazis had the choice to use the trucks and trains to get ammunition to the front lines or to transport Jews, they chose to transport Jews. That's the sign of Amalek. When Amalek fought the war against the Jews the first time, they knew they were going to lose. But they said, the Jews have a philosophy we cannot accept. They got this philosophy that there's God, there's right, there's wrong, that we can't accept that. We want the idea that there is no rhyme or reason. This world's about the Ubermensch, the strong. It's the law of the jungle. Do you understand? It's exactly what Hitler said. Hitler said the Jews place two scars on society. The scar of the circumcision on the body, and the scar of the mind, which is the conscience. He wrote that in Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. Amalek says, forget this whole business of purpose. No purpose. It's all an accident. It's a safek. The numerical value of Amalek is doubt. Could someone tell me the rationale why this word doesn't appear in the Torah? Doubt?
Because there's no doubt.
Because there's no doubt. That's right. It's an authentic word, but it's not there. Amalek is doubt. And what do? They happen to meet you. Asher karcha b'derech. Had meet you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the word. That's these two letters. These are called the letters of accident, of illusion. It's asher karcha. That's the word, kar. Keri. Happened. A nocturnal emission is called Keri. It's all an accident. Amalek, what they did was, they represent this part of the world. There's the Dalet and the Hay, where the world needs something and it gets spiritually fulfilled. Then there's this part of illusion, this yearning here of illusion, that has this monkey that's not a man. It's an illusion because you're not really a person. You're just a freak, random mutation. That's the illusion of Amalek. What's that?
I don't see how we got from car.
Because what it said in the Torah, it says, Asher karcha b'derech. Their method of attacking you was to happen to meet you. The word karcha is this word.
Okay, got it.
This word means, when you put the letters, it means cold, but it also means happenstance.
Yeah.
Happenstance. That's what it means. A mikre. A mikre is right?
Coincidence.
It's a coincidence. And that's a fact. Look at this amazing thing. You're going to jump out of your seats right now. Lori, hold him down right now. Hold Lori down. And that's why you take the word Amalek and you break it up. It spells the word Amal, which was Amal means the work of the kof, of the monkey. Their whole work is to do the work of saying you're not a person with a soul that God created with a mission. You're a random accident. You're not even a person. The whole thing is a joke. The whole thing's an illusion. The whole thing's a mikra, an accident. That's what it is. Amal, the work of the kof, of the monkey. That was the work of Amalek. Okay? You lined up here, this paralleling to this. A human being has to go and make sure that they take this world of illusion and use it right. Okay? These letters here, the Kuf and the Resh, although they look like the Dal and the Hay, in the Talmud says they are the negative letters. They can be used well. The kuf could be used for holiness or kedusha, it's monkey. The resh is poor, and it could be rasha. It could also be the word rosh, head. So these are called the negative letters of the world. And if you look here, you see an amazing thing. This is our first session we did. In the first session we had the word emet, if you remember. Remember we had that word, emet? Truth. And we said that truth is amazing. It's the first letter of the alphabet, the middle letter, the last letter. Remember we said that? We said if you count the letters between the aleph and the mem, there's 13 letters, right? If you count with the end of letters, there's 27 Mesopet Tevot. And 13, we said the numerical value of God is 1, echad. 1. We know why? Because there's one truth in the world. This is truth, emet, truth. We said if you take away the little aleph that has no sound, what are you left with? Dead. If you play around with truth and you take away one little bit of it, it's death. It's no good. And we said to you that the emet stands on 2 legs. All the letters are on sturdy ground. But then we contrasted with another word. Okay? And this word is not the beginning, middle, and end. This word is all the letters are together. It's this here. It's all 3 letters together. It's the kuf, the resh, and the shin. But they're a little bit out of order. And they spell the word sheker. What is sheker? A lie. A lie. And look at this. That's why the Talmud says the sheker stands on 1 leg. The shin in the Torah is written with a point. 1 leg, 1 leg, 1 leg. Because lies stand on 1 leg. They're not sturdy. Truth is stable. Truth is far apart. There's only one truth. Lies are many. They're so close together. There's so many possible lies, but they're just a little bit out of order. And watch what the Talmud says now. It says in the Zohar, it says, the shin is called the letter of truth. We talked last time about the number 3. It has 3 heads. And we said 3 was the balance. I got the right. I got the middle. Shin, it says the letter of truth. And you know why it's the beginning of lies? Because any lie that doesn't have a little bit of truth in it, you're never going to believe it. You got to mix in something. You want to be a good liar? Put something in the beginning that sounds true. That's the shin. That is the letter of truth that is heading up these letters. The letters of kar, of cold. The letters of illusion. The resh, who's poor, and he wants to get filled up his desires in a crooked way. The shin heads these letters of accident, happenstance, of Amalek. It heads it up because this is where the lies come from. They come from the person going and having his illusions, his desires that are out of whack, and building up some fable and putting some little bit of truth in here. There's the sheker, there's a lie that stands on 1 foot. Last bit I want to say, but you gotta understand one thing, that everything in the world needs to be used. The world of illusion, the world of dreams, is a very purposeful world. It's very good. If you could take your desires and you could go and you could use them in a proper way, then you've taken the illusion of this world and you've used it for yourself. And you have to do that. I'll give you an example. A person has a dream to go and to be something. Okay? He wants to be something. He wants to imitate something. That's good. That's good. If I want to be, I'm a kid, maybe I want to be the greatest baseball player in the world. And it's an illusion. I'm not going to be the greatest baseball player in the world. But there may be a part of me that wants to achieve something great and think big. And I take that dream and I use it in some way that it becomes meaningful. That's taking the Yosef, the dreams and the illusion of the world, and directing them that they propel you to attain the right thing. That's the whole secret of this part that parallels the Dal and the Hay, but it's in a world of illusion. That, ladies and gentlemen, can be bad if you get stuck in the world of illusion. Then it becomes cold, it becomes accidents, it becomes Kerry. Kerry is called when a person has a nocturnal dream in a way that his seed is not focused towards his soulmate. It's not creating, it's just random. But if you take the yud in the Kerry, in the nocturnal dream, in the emission that's not directed towards something, and you put the yud in the front, it spells the word yakar. Yakar is greatness, value. The whole idea from this system is that there is a place where in the beginning a person is a dalit, he needs something, he gets what he needs. That's the way the world's built. The hay is the world. Okay? It's a physical world. It's true, you're physical, you need something. God gives you the yud, you got a hay, you got a world. But there's another part of the world where you start to dream things and you make up things and you're a dream boy and you yearn for things. And that's a trickier place. That if you try to get all of your fantasies in the world, it's going to come out crooked. Crooked like these guys. It won't come out straight. But if you master that aspect of your dreams, and you don't fall into the sheker, into the lies, and you master it, you take the negative aspect and you focus the yud in the front, you create greatness. Yakar is like, it's more than just greatness. It's like, when I have something that's called zolel, it's negative, I pull out the greatest thing from the lowest thing. And so therefore, when your dreams and your fantasies, if you follow them in a way that you just try to fill them up all the time, you're stuck in the world of sheker, of lie. If you take those dreams and fantasies and you direct them in a way like Yosef, you pull out the greatness in yourself and transform these letters from being negative to being the greatest beauty, the greatest greatness, the yakar, the greatness of the world. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. I'm a Hebrew noob, so can you just draw the kuf the way I see it in prayer books?
Yeah, like this probably. Probably just like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing, it's just the only thing I did was I made it curved a little bit.
Okay.
But the way it is in a prayer book, you pull out a prayer book, it's over there, you see? Yeah, that's close enough here.
Can we go for a second to Amalek, because
Yeah.
it bothers me?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to have in each generation a remnant of Amalek that want to kill us and it will never end?
Yeah, until the end of time, there is an acid of Amalek. There's an acid of Amalek in ourselves also. I mean, not real Amalek, but
Right.
an acid of whatever negativity you need to get rid of. And there are people in the world that do want to destroy us. You know, and I'm sorry to say that, but I mean, just read the news and you'll see. And they pop their heads up in every generation because there is always that until the end of time where whatever happens to the Amalek, so and Amalek is the evil is negated, but there is that, and you know, look, you know, we live in a time where it's a little funny because we forget. And we're used to good life in America. We're talking about 70 years ago. 70 years ago and they're trying to kill us all. That's nothing. What's 70 years? And it's happening again. You know, it always bothered me. It was like, I remember as a kid, you know, there's a phrase, never again. You know, never again, never again, never again. But it's a funny phrase because what does that mean? It's happening again all the time. You're still saying the phrase, and they're trying to do the same thing again. So if you're never again, you think, how are you going to stop it? Okay, very nice. But the reality is that never again, just to say the words, is a little bit hollow because it's happening. They're trying to do the same thing again. I mean,
Yeah, but the meaning was more for the Jewish state with a Jewish army, that never again will be Jews led to
Yeah,
slaughter.
okay, possibly.
In
but-
Israel,
but-
people thought that way, but I think in America, usually people don't think about it that way, and they just think of it as, we're never gonna turn a blind eye and this
Well, that's what
is not
she's
gonna
saying, she's saying that
happen.
we're gonna do something.
But we're gonna do, but I think
But-
like in Israel, the whole like the army thing was very like, that was more how like they took it much more like, we're
Yeah.
gonna build
Yeah,
ourselves, we're not
because-
gonna be
right,
like sheep
because
to the
it-
slaughter, but.
Well, and that's also, I mean, in America, we're trying to, which there's different phases, but right now, if you look at what's happening, I mean, I tell you, I remember being in the Gulf War in Israel. That was the most fascinating experience. You there during the Gulf War?
No,
What?
just
Okay.
visiting.
It was fascinating because you couldn't do anything.
Nothing.
You couldn't do anything. There was like, the government, America said to Israel, don't fight back, don't do anything. Just go sit in your room and everyone was praying. It was the most fascinating thing. It was like, it was a time where I felt in Israel the most that things were like potentially changing because everyone was praying. Because what else were you going
It's
to do?
always like
You
whenever
had
it's
nothing
like
else
really
to
bad,
do. Never
everybody
again they were
unifies much more.
trying to destroy us
Unfortunately,
again.
that's what brings us
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Can Amalek be one of us?
Amalek is not us, but every person can.
No, I'm
No, he's a good question.
Someone in this room.
Yeah.
No, I mean, can we be our own Amalek?
So there's a certain aspect that the Hasidic masters say that you got to get rid of the Amalek in yourself, because today we don't, you can't go walk up to a person and say, "Hey, let me see your ID card. I think you're a Amalek." You can't do that. We don't know who's who. But they say so. Therefore, every year you gotta take out whatever is negative in yourself and get rid of that. Get rid of the Amalek that's inside of you. Yes, there is an idea like that.
What about
And second, never again. I'm looking at God, all the world.
Right.
And you're right. It hasn't ended in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Us, they're still against us, and they're doing it all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I hope things go well. I mean, thank God I'm not nervous about it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good in the end. But it's a bit of a rough ride. It's a bit of a rough ride. And whatever you think about politics and whoever you voted for or didn't vote for, don't believe that things are going away that fast. They're not. I mean, they're just revving up. I mean, Turkey and Russia. That's there are actual teachings about these things. I think I've shared one time. The Gemara talks about Persia, about Iran, how Iran, and describes in great detail. So these things are revving up, but you can't be nervous about it because God's on our side.
Going to the Never Again and whatever, I feel I could have an intellectual conversation with you and say we have to help people. I like Syria right now; those
Right.
poor people. But I feel impotent, other
Right.
than giving money to somebody that's
Right.
helping them or whatever. As a Jew, and when I think of Never Again, I would like to believe we should never let things happen like that.
Right.
But it's like I suddenly don't know how to make a difference or how to help.
Yeah.
And all these lessons of the alphabet, where the potential for greatness or the potential for not, I feel like we're getting sucked in. We can't reach our potential because of what we're surrounded by.
Possibly, but another way to say it is you could reach your potential because of what you're surrounded by. I think that's more accurate in the sense that, there was a great Rebbe, the Kutzker Rebbe. He said, when I was a kid, I thought I was going to change the world. I got older, I said I'm going to change my country. Older, I'll say I'll change my state. Older, I'll change my town. I really ought to change myself. And that's really the truth is, and that's why I when I talk to you about the mystical things, there's a reason for it, because when you change yourself, you are changing the world. We believe cosmically every positive thing you do in your circle, in your community, is helping a child someplace in the world, because you're actually creating a better world. So yes, you should go and do whatever activism you can to make the world a better place. But don't make the mistake that when I function in my world, I'm not helping. Yes, if you can't help and you turn a blind eye, that's a problem. You really don't care so much. But if you and the people, if everyone here and everyone that you know and everyone started to develop themselves spiritually, it would have a chain reaction throughout the world. You know, it's an amazing thing. It says, you know, when King Shlomo was the king, how great it was. You know, it was so great, and then the Jews would have the temple. But what people don't realize is, the Midrash says that every country in the world had a blessing. There was no famine. There was no natural disasters. The whole time of Shlomo, when he was the king, when we were at our pinnacle, the whole world was at their pinnacle. That's the deeper meaning of being a light unto nations. That when we go and we act as a light, we will influence others. And right now, the Jewish nation are stuck in this question of like, how do we lead? How do we show? What are we? Who are we? And to the degree that we decide to be a light, we are going to have a tremendous effect, both from activism, positive things you could do, but also, and sometimes even more importantly, because sometimes people like do on the outside, but they don't do on the inside. They might not be nice, you know, in their house. They might not be nice to their relatives. They might not do anything in their own. They might just, you know, like, here's some money, and I'll think about it. That's less. We want to start making our world different, changing our universe. We will change the whole world. And if the negativity is happening, we got to say that even more so we're going to do this. Yeah.
So with the, I completely agree with what you're saying, but I think that at least for me, if I'm only focusing on like changing myself and changing my current reality and the people I'm affecting in that small bubble, maybe without proper intention, it could just end up being just within that bubble. Is it something where we have to say, okay, I'm gonna like help my community and doing everything I can to build up my community, but through this, like, God made the world, you know, be built up by my actions. Do we have to put that intention into our actions in order to make that change?
It makes it go stronger. And what I'm basing it on, and I haven't explained it now, I explained it in the past, but what I'm basing it on is that I've talked before how the spiritual worlds are parallel to our human beings, how we are. And when you do something, you affect the entire spiritual system. And that idea means I do affect everything. So yes, if you think how I want to affect the world, you will. But like we say in prayer, we say, you know, we say it on a Shabbos, every Shabbos, it says, Talmidei Chachamim, scholars bring peace to the world. It says your children, and don't read your children, read your builders. What do you mean builders? Because every time you do something positive, you're building the spiritual world, you're affecting the world. So yes, if you're doing it, you should think, I want to make the world a better place, but you are. And you should also try to do what you can do outside of your circle. But what Terry was saying before is, certain things you just can't. You know, I mean, they're slaughtering people in these countries that barely make the news. You know, it's like, okay, you know, they slaughtered a bunch of. It's unbelievable. Everyone's focused on Israel, but you know, people are actually committing war crimes and crimes against humanity in these countries on regularly. You know, okay, ISIS killed another 1,000 of these people. What's going on? You know.
The world doesn't care when they kill blacks, Arabs, and Jews. The world doesn't care.
You know, it's so. What?
And on that note.
I think I'll slash my wrists.
No, it's forbidden.
Anyway, let's end it on a good note. So what we've learned in these 4 sessions in 30 seconds is the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are the material the world is made out of. Aleph is the godliness. Take that, bring that Aleph into the world. Bring that Aleph into the world. Learn. That's Alpha. Learn it. Bet is then when you learn that, build a house. Bet. Build a house in the world. Take their ideas, expand them to bring it into the world and to expand them. Then take the kindness. Be a gomel. Be a giver. Be a giver to a person who's dal, who's poor, who's a dalit. Understand he's embarrassed, he can't look at you. Find a way, he has his back to you. Find a way to go and to give him in a way that he has true independence. And then when that happens, what you're going to do is you're going to create this world, the hay. You're going to create a world where the spiritual is enlivening the physical. And sometimes there's going to be other scenarios where there's going to be a yearning and it wants to be filled. And if it's in a world of illusion, you need to be careful, because if it's in a world of illusion, it can be come out very crooked and twisted and turned. And therefore, you got to be careful when you're filling the yearning of your desires, that there has the spirituality directing it, and that way you'll bring out the yakar, the beauty and the greatness, from the happenstance of the world.